2 months ago, Elon Musk started tweeting about Bitcoin and its environmental impacts and caused a worldwide cryptocurrency crash that cut in half the value of pretty much every crypto in the world. Over the following month, over $1 trillion would be lost in the bear market that followed Elon's tweets. Now, while this happened, people all over the world were trying to work out why Elon did what he did. It's something I even made a video about. But in short, we were all wrong. The real reason for Elon's tweet storm wasn't the environmental impact of Bitcoin mining, and it wasn't another random pump for Dogecoin. It was something far, far smarter than that. I'm going to give you all a quick recap of what happened, explain what most people thought the reasoning behind Elon's actions were, and then explain the new theory which has just emerged and seems very likely to be true. But really quickly, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. We're putting out loads of videos just like this constantly that you don't want to miss out on. On February of this year, Elon and Tesla announced that they had bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin and that Tesla would be accepting payments for their cars in Bitcoin. This preceded the most recent crypto bull run that saw prices soar hundreds of percent over the last few months. This was a seal of approval from the most popular and famous entrepreneur in the world and his trailblazing electric car company. On May the 13th, however, Elon brought all of this crashing down when he announced that Tesla would no longer be accepting Bitcoin as payment and that they had started selling off their Bitcoin position. This was all done under the guise of protecting the environment. Elon stated that Bitcoin mining and its transactions are too energy intensive and that too much of this energy comes from burning fossil fuels. He mentioned that cryptocurrency is still a good thing and that it has a promising future, but that it cannot be advanced at the expense of the environment. Finally, Elon said that he would be happy to continue working with Bitcoin once mining has transitioned to more sustainable energy sources. Now, while this was all going on, Elon was also pumping Dogecoin up as much as he possibly could. He was constantly tweeting memes about the crypto, stating that he thought it was the future and notably telling everyone how much more environmentally friendly it was than Bitcoin. The prevailing wisdom at the time, and what I believed as well, was that Elon was shunning Bitcoin to try and pump Dogecoin even higher. The idea was that there was no way in hell that Elon had invested in Bitcoin $1.5 billion just 2 months earlier without knowing about the environmental impacts of Bitcoin. So there had to be an ulterior motive at play that we thought was Dogecoin. The problem is that this whole thing started crashing Dogecoin as well, and Elon's attempts to continue pumping Dogecoin seem to be getting rarer and weaker. And it seems as though Elon doesn't really care about Dogecoin after all. So the question has to be asked, why did Elon dump Bitcoin? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, and to truly understand what's going on, you need to know how Tesla makes its money. Now, obviously, Tesla sells electric cars, and it does make money on that. But over the last few years, Tesla's profitability seems to be driven by regulatory credits from places like Europe and California. Now, the governments in these areas want to incentivize being environmentally friendly and driving electric cars. So they fine car manufacturers if the cars they sell are too polluting. Now, if these car manufacturers sell some electric cars along with their diesel or petrol cars, then they can reduce or outright avoid paying these fines. Now, Tesla obviously doesn't sell polluting cars, so instead what they sell is what we call regulatory credits to other car manufacturers, mainly Fiat Chrysler. Now, these credits make it as though Fiat Chrysler are selling the electric cars themselves, so they avoid these huge fines that they would have to pay otherwise. Recently, however, Fiat Chrysler have announced that they're not going to be buying as many regulatory credits from Tesla because they've started making electric cars of their own. And they aren't the only company doing this. Pretty much every car company in the world is now selling and making their own electric cars, and they all plan to continue to sell more electric cars in the future as well. This means that Tesla's revenue from selling regulatory credits is doomed to disappear within a few years, and Tesla will go from making $500 million a quarter to nothing. Now, this revenue is especially important to Tesla for two main reasons. Firstly, it's 100% profit. Tesla don't have to do anything extra to sell these credits. It doesn't cost them anything to sell these credits, so $1 billion from selling credits is far more important to Tesla than $1 billion from selling cars. And the second reason is that without these regulatory credits, Tesla wouldn't be profitable today, and it wouldn't have been profitable over the last year or longer. This could severely impact the way Tesla is seen to investors if they lose this profitability, and it's understandably very important to the company. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. One day before Elon started his tweet storm denouncing Bitcoin and causing the price to crash, Tesla applied for a license to enter the renewable fuel credit market in the US. Now, this market is very similar to the one I explained earlier with electric cars and gas cars, except this one is related to energy production and renewable sources of energy. Essentially, companies who are involved with green energy, like electric cars, solar panels, and batteries, like Tesla, could sell regulatory credits to companies who also work in energy but use fossil fuels or pollute a lot. This is just like the system Tesla already has going with regulatory credits and cars. Now, Bitcoin mining is a notoriously energy-intensive process that causes an awful lot of pollution in the world. Most Bitcoin miners use some renewable energy, but the vast majority of Bitcoin mining in the world is done with energy from fossil fuels that pollute greenhouse gases. Elon's tweets drew attention to the dirty energy and the pollution problem from Bitcoin mining and made it a topic talked about by every major news network in the world. He single-handedly brought more criticism down on Bitcoin miners than anyone had ever done before, and he did it all on purpose. The theory goes that Elon is trying to create a regulatory credit market for the Bitcoin miners, just like there is already for gas vehicles. He got the entire world to question the energy used in Bitcoin mining and the environmental impact, so that the US government and other governments too would introduce a system where dirty Bitcoin miners would be fined unless they use renewable energy. Tesla could then sell credits to these miners, just like they do with car companies, and replace the revenue and profit that they're going to lose over the coming years. And even if these miners don't want to buy credits from Tesla, then they can buy solar panels or batteries to store their energy instead. It's a win-win for Tesla. We also know for a fact that Elon has been in touch with the Bitcoin Mining Council, a collection of some of the world's largest Bitcoin miners. And while we don't know exactly what has been said in these meetings, there's a very high chance that Elon has proposed the idea of a regulatory credit market being the solution to their problems. Now, I do have to stress that we don't know that this is the case for sure, but we do know a few things. Firstly, Dogecoin is not a real competitor to Bitcoin, and Elon's enthusiasm for Dogecoin has waned since his Bitcoin tweets. It appears as though he's not actually interested in using Dogecoin like we earlier thought. He's not telling us about his plans for Dogecoin, and he's not telling us about meetings with Dogecoin developers anymore. So it's very unlikely that his actions were driven by a desire to replace Bitcoin with Dogecoin. We also know that Elon is not an idiot. He's very, very smart. Elon knew that Bitcoin mining was a dirty process long before he bought Bitcoin and allowed Bitcoin to be used to buy a Tesla. So the question has to be asked, why did he endorse Bitcoin? Why did he put his money behind it if it was always damaging the environment? This isn't a new thing. Well, in my opinion, the most likely theory is that Elon wanted to use his name and stature to draw attention to the environmental damage caused by Bitcoin mining, and this was his way of doing that. Following on from these deductions, Elon trying to create a new regulatory market for Tesla seems like the most likely possibility. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to think. Is this the truth behind Elon's Bitcoin antics, or am I wrong on all accounts? If I am wrong, why did Elon do all this? Is there an even bigger plan that we're all missing? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video, then make sure to subscribe. If you want to help spread the word, then like the video, leave a comment, and YouTube will do its part by pushing this video out to more people just like you. There are links down below in the description to crypto.com where you get $25 for signing up, and Webull where you can get free stocks worth up to $2,300 when you sign up. There's no reason not to do it. It's literally free money. Thanks for watching. Until next time.